That's good and bad news. It's good news that I've been able to do it. It took me almost half a year. The upside is that there's trillions of dollars of the people I service that want to do the same thing. If we could just get the regulator on side to tell us what the rules are, it's like football. You can't play football if you don't know the rules. We need the rules. Then you're going to get a massive allocation to crypto.
What is 7% in real numbers?
I don't say, because it goes across multiple mandates. And, we have rules about disclosing dollars because it's not always our money. When it comes to crypto, because of the compliance and the regulations and where we're at, I don't put other people's money into crypto mandates. I'm very fortunate to have my own operating companies, multiple operating companies that I control. In the case where this crypto is 100% control. So I am allowed, but I have to be compliant anyways, because when you have a compliance department, it's because you've been able to grow business. I have multiple investments in financial services companies, many of them which are reporting and regulated. So I can't be offside. It's because I'm a shareholder in these companies. And so—
What do you mean by offside?
So let me give you an example. Back in 2017, when I took my first position in crypto, the regulatory environment was nothing less than toxic, all right? At that time, regulators around the world were sending out complaints to all kinds of people that were trying to tokenize all kinds of assets, including one here in New York, a hotel. It was a poop show. It was, and you just can't get involved in that when you're reporting and being compliant in many other jurisdictions. And so that at that point, I was just, my own compliance department said, you got to stop talking about this stuff. You got to stay away from this stuff. This is just an environment that is brutal. Over time, in particularly the last 24 months, you've seen Switzerland, Germany, France, England, Canada, a jurisdiction that cooperates with regulators in the US in total harmony, launch ETFs with their primary asset being Ethereum and Bitcoin. So the tonality of that regulatory environment has changed dramatically. You're starting to see the regulator, talking about, let's discuss these asset classes, let's get into a dialogue about it. And as a result, I've been able to be more flexible about my own position and come out and disclose just a few months ago that I'd taken on a 3% position in our operating company of specifically Bitcoin and a few others. But I agree with you on the thesis you have on Bitcoin, because when I talk to— let me give you an example, which is, I think, is very intuitive what you said there. Mm-hmm. Let's say I'm talking to a sovereign fund, all right? Let's say, and they have 500 billion, and they want to deploy into crypto for the first time, and they're going to put a small weighting, 1%. The reason they haven't done it yet is not because they're having a debate about whether they want to. They want to, but they have a compliance department that includes an ESG committee, which determines which assets get to the investment committee first, because every single asset is viewed with that particular sovereign fund by the merits of sustainability. And so just, at Bitcoin 2021, there was a huge debate going on. Elon Musk was involved. I'd made some statements about it because I'd learned from the pensions that they weren't going to get involved in it because it was not ESG compliant. The Chinese were burning coal to make electricity, to mine and get awarded coins. That was a nightmare. And so the reason Bitcoin is still not yet a institutional product is we have not got around this issue of sustainability. When I disclosed that I had, 3% weighting in Bitcoin and Ethereum, the first call I got were from all the guys that I know in the pension plans saying, do you know that those are sustainable or not? Do we own them or just you? Mm-hmm. Because we can't own them. And that's when I learned about the problem. And it remains today. And the reason I say it's not a problem, it's an opportunity. If we solve this in the Bitcoin asset community, whatever you want to call it, you're going to see $1 trillion worth of fiat currencies go into Bitcoin as an asset, just like real estate. And I think you want to talk about $100,000, $200,000, $250,000 coin price. It has to solve this problem. It won't get there till then. I don't think Bitcoin's ever going to be centralized. It's going to be regulated, but never centralized. And I think to the fact that as we started this dialogue earlier, I, like you, believe in it as an asset. I own it. I've never traded it. I'm never going to sell my coin. It's to me, it's the building I used to own in Boston that I sold for cash. I mean, it's sort of, I think over time will beat the indices and hedge me against inflation. It's similar to gold, which I also own, but maybe in a better performing way. And I need to get all the roadblocks out of its way. I don't want to have this ESG debate about it anymore. And I'm part of that debate. I'm one of the voices that have been saying this now for 2 years. We got to address this issue. And again, it came up at the panel I was on today. It's the same story. In that audience, every time I come to these conferences and I do a panel, I look into the audience and I see the same institutions that I serve indexing with baseball hats on, and sunglasses. They don't want to be seen here. They don't want to be seen here, but they're really interested in this asset class. And in that room, I bet you 20% of the people today, I don't know, there are 3,000 people in there, are involved in financial services. You can tell who they are because they're wearing a hat and they got sunglasses on, because they're not ready to declare they're players yet, but they want to figure out what are the rules and when will the regulator approve it, because it will be allocated. And I think when you're talking about $500 billion sovereign fund and they allocate 1%, you're talking real money. And you as an owner of a coin are going to vastly be worth a lot more than before their participation. So we can have this debate about the community and the moral obligations and centralization, decentralization. But if you were able to get the institutions just a 1% allocation, that's $1 trillion worth of buying. So now you're talking about $1 million Bitcoin. That's why I'm in the game. And so I'm happy to have this dialogue saying, everybody wake up and understand, smell the fucking roses. It's there. The opportunity's there. You got to get on the bandwagon to solve this problem for them. What's interesting now about crypto, I don't consider crypto Bitcoin or Ethereum, okay? Yes, they were the pioneering assets, but I'm considering crypto as the 12th sector of the S&P. It hasn't been declared that yet, but I think that's where we're going. And so when you talk about running a mandate like I do for institutional clients or institutional mindset, they say to themselves, okay, in a normal world where I understand each of the 11 sectors of the S&P, I may allocate, the largest I would allocate would be 20%, let's say, to technology. That's generally the max in a mandate. And maybe you do 3% in energy because your ESG concerns are there and all the rest of it. But you're dabbling in all 11. I'm now dabbling in crypto as if it was the 12th. So that means I don't need a mandate to do that. I'm doing that because I'm able to get my compliance department to agree on certain coins, tokens, assets, but they have no interest in just buying Bitcoin. I get Bitcoin. That's one asset. It's just like when you say, I'm going to have 20% in tech. There's 1,000 companies to choose from to build that position. So for me now to actually get into crypto, I need multiple positions because I'm mandated to have diversification. So yeah, I own Bitcoin. Yes, I have some Ethereum. I have some Litecoin. I have some USDC, but there's much more coming. And I'm at 3% right now, waiting in a mandate. That's not a lot. I'm on my way to 7% by year end. That's a lot. And that's starting to be where I consider myself a participant in this market. But I'm having to do it different than maybe you or Pomp or a lot of the guys that were pioneers. I don't have the option to be a cowboy. I can't do that. I have 3 problems on that front. Number 1, I have to get my internal compliance officer to agree. Number 2, I have to get my external auditor to sign the audited statements that then turn into reports to the regulators in every jurisdiction that I participate in. I cannot afford to be offside for 1 second. So that's taken a lot of time. That ain't easy. And that is where we sit.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
What to do in such a situation? Inform yourself and keep your financial education strong. We from the Compact Group offer our loyal subscribers a free educational portal with first-hand monetary, financial, and economic knowledge. Enter our invite-only Insider Club by clicking the link below. You will get access to first-class information far earlier than the rest. We have prepared a special deal for all our members where you can access a giant pool of Robert Kiyosaki's financial wisdom for just $1. To find out more, simply click the link below and join our Insider Club absolutely free. But there is more you can and should do. Build up several streams of income. More and more people realize that they have to take their future in their own hands, but they don't know how and where to start. We from Compact offer our Insider Club members unique opportunities. Strengthen your financial muscle and get the edge. Click the link below. Become part of our free Insider Club. No financial obligations. But there's one important thing you have to know. You have to become active. So do it now. Become active and see you on the other side.